Hello everyone. Starting coverage a little bit late. The score is already 1-1. Covering Bughouse World Championship in the under 2000 section. And the match is nunu1025 and frozenthrush versus CRERULES and knguyenTX. So it's a team from Poland versus a team from the United States. Team from Poland outrates their opponents by about 200 points on one board and 400 points on the other. But so far our score is 1-1. I'm going to advertise in a few Discords and jump into a voice chat in case someone wants to co-commentate with me. Alright, let's see what's going on in this game. Like Nunu has a king that's a little bit unsafe. I would take the bishop on f8 if I were him, but taking on g5 also be reasonable. If he can get a knight and taking this knight, or no, actually, never mind. Let's see, frozenthrush. His king is a little bit vulnerable. He could try to get in on the dark squares. There's knguyen Texas, I guess, or thanks. Or I don't know what the TX stands for. So he's trying to get him to burn the queen by putting the queen there, but no such luck. He's got a different blocker. This is a good way to try to get some tempo. You might see rook takes g7 at some point. So all of these key squares are covered by knguyen. So knguyen is doing rook check and then pawn mates. knguyen doing a pretty good job defending. What is Nunu waiting for? Oh, I guess he's not getting a pawn. So he has to be more careful. If the pawn doesn't come, then this is a mate threat. And queen in. Comes over. With lack of a blocker, maybe bishop check first. I don't think this is necessarily the most accurate way to do it, but it may work out anyway. Okay, Nunu trying to keep the king safe. At some of those points, Nunu should have attacked rather than defended, but he is down time, so it's hard to get pieces to continue his attack. CRERULES trying to mate or flag here. And there was, I think there was a resignation. So knguyen and CRERULES won that nice game. My score is now 2-1, favoring CRERULES and knguyen. Nunu again has castled and is getting attacked pretty hard on the dark squares. I was going to say pawn at e3 would have been interesting to sack the queen, but his partner is not safe enough for that to happen. If pawn here, bishop takes. I think Kwyn would have won on his board. Now Kwyn is going to have to give up his queen. Those are promotion ideas. So rook mates, or he can promote and win the queen. He's opted to promote and win the queen. With lack of a blocker, this is going to allow him to pick up the rook and promotion after that. So frozenthrush should just stall here. They're up 11 seconds, it looks like. And picking up this rook is very important. Just after the rook, and take this pawn and get much safer. Oh, winning a queen as well. So that's great coordination from nunu1025. Yeah, and this is just a chess win now. Our score is now 2-2. So this seems to be a fairly even matchup. So frozenthrush, oh, I was going to say in past games he hasn't got his king's bishop out, but he is doing that now. Nunu rolling out some quick moves. Grabbing the rook file. Oh, there's a weak square. Pawns would be very helpful, like pawn at g7, followed by bishop at f8, but he didn't have that, so he's continued to move anyway. Maybe knight takes bishop. Bishop check could be good to get more pieces on the board. A pawn would be good, but knack of it's fine. Bishop here, dual threat. He's worried about defense, it looks like. Now, knight check is a possibility. Queen sack may be required here. Otherwise, looks tough to live. Probably going to win the queen anyway. So should have done it on his terms. New knight in. Quite good. Take, take. This king doesn't have very many places to go. So that's just mate in one though. So understandable that he waited for the rook. Our score is now 3-2, favoring frozenthrush and Nunu. In this round of 32, it is first to 11 with a win by 2 condition to win the match. I would just bring this bishop back. Oh, was a pawn really that useful? I don't think that was worth it. This does tempo a little bit. If king takes, can't castle anymore. Frozenthrush able to get more pieces on the board. by tempoing the queen. So if you could defend this knight, then this would be a possibility, but right now queen can take. Could take this, could just defend the knight. Yeah, he's just going to defend the knight to threaten knight takes pawn. Ooh, I don't like that move. Knight takes pawn seemed obvious. I guess he wants bishop check to pick up the queen. Don't like pawn check. Oh, well, pawn check has worked out because he's just taken. Could just push. Could put a pawn in here to tempo the rook. Could put a bishop here to make threats. Could just develop. A lot of possibilities. On the other board, Nunu always seems to be attacked in the dark squares after castling his king. Probably going to have to lose the queen here. He's going to at least try to get a piece for it. His king is very vulnerable. If his opponent doesn't get very many pieces, this is a possibility. But here a pawn mates, I think. Pawn check. Knight here, pawn here. So one pawn mates. Oh, I would throw a rook in. Yeah, that was done in the wrong order. Rook check, then bishop there would have been mate. So, doesn't have mate, but he still has a very good position. He could trade the queens and then play bishop g8 to threaten rook in. But, oh, actually he can't because the queen trade mates his partner. So he has to hold that queen. Now Nunu is going to go for a little bit of a run. Maybe knight takes pawn. You do that. Eventually might take the rook, but he's going to check as long as he can. It's kind of hard for Kwin to live here. He might need to start looking for a Hail Mary attack. Yeah, there's no way he lives. Okay, this wins. I was gonna say pawn check, maybe a little more accurate, but it doesn't matter in this case. Our score is now 4-2, favoring frozenthrush and Nunu. Looks like Kwin basically trying to get more pieces on the board. So every piece he's getting, he's immediately placing, which can be a useful strategy when you find that you often end the game with a lot of pieces in hand. And when there's a high trade game in general, you want to put more pieces on the board. Maybe bishop check to pick off this knight. Since this knight is the most advanced piece and a thorn in the side. Oh, and that's mate. So Nunu continues to be vulnerable when he castles. I think Nunu needs to be a little bit more careful in the opening. Yeah, definitely going for dark squares. Earliest opportunity. Oh, but CRERULES has hung a piece. Hung another piece. Well, never mind. I guess queen would trade if that happened. On here, maybe. Kwin is king is a little bit vulnerable. Probably pawn check to fish the bishop out. Knight takes bishop, followed by knight in, if pawn takes. Nunu continuing to find moves. I don't know what frozenthrush is waiting for. Maybe he's hoping to get a queen. Okay, he's just going to pick up a free rook. That's reasonable. You can take a free pawn or trade here. Is reasonable too. Another knight would mate. Okay. He's not going for that mate. So making the threat of a rook mate. Can he stall? He's up 3 seconds. Rook mates. And Nunu force a rook. The threat is rook at d1. And he's done it. There's the rook that mates. Our score is now 5-3. Favoring frozenthrush and Nunu. This bishop is a little bit out of the action, but it does defend f2. CRERULES continuing to attack the dark squares after the king castles. It's been his plan pretty much every game. Oh, I would take the bishop and tempo the queen. He's going to battery up a bishop instead. Gotta watch out for draws. So now if he takes, he would be losing a piece in the process. He should have done it the first time. That was a missed opportunity. So I'm going to defend that. Mistaken, yeah. It's a free pawn. And you get the tempo of the queen. Make some threats. Pin the queen, nice move. Probably bishop at b4 is the way, or bishop at c7. Nunu trying to hold on to some pieces here. I like bishop check. Okay, pawn check's fine too. Take it and push. Get the queen in. That was a missed opportunity to get another piece in the game. Bishop check. That's made. So great job, frozenthrush and Nunu winning another game. Their score is now 6-3, favoring the Nunu team. Take with bishop. Now you have a hole. Tell your partner to hold a bishop. These knights are a little bit unprotected. Trying to trade this off, I guess. But eventually probably going to have to let go of that knight. So at least he gets a pawn for it. Is this a weakness? that picks up a rook. Or a queen. This option. Wow. Okay. Another queen to play with. Red is new queen in here if he doesn't defend that. I would just take this. This looks worth sacking, especially if he could get a diagonal afterwards. This double sit is really bad for them. I think he should have sacked the bishop here. Take all of that. There's still up a little bit of time. Now the other team is double sitting. That is mate. Queen in or queen in. I know which way he goes. Another win for the Nunu team. Our score is now 7-3. And Nunu and Frozen Thrush starting to run away with it a bit. It was more close in the beginning. They've found their stride. So, CRERULES is sacked again. This sack is okay for Nunu as long as he continues to move fast. Maybe take the pawn. Oh, never mind. Take the queen for sure. King is still a little bit vulnerable. It looks like there's mate if he gets a rook and a knight. He's not up time though, so that's not going to happen. This queen helps defend. Also attack this weak square. You can sack here. Queen sack, knight check, probably wins. Oh, that some other mate we talked about earlier happened though. Score is now 8-3, favoring Frozen Thrush and nunu1025. I'd like just push it. Yeah. Pawn in. If you have a knight, so much the better. Okay. Now pawn check. That's the wrong side. He shouldn't have taken that. He should have just stepped over. But it is what it is. You can get this bishop active. You can get the knight active. Okay, now he just has a knight. So I guess he hopes for another knight. Maybe bishop check or pawn check. I like bishop check. Oh, queen in. Yeah, I didn't realize the queens were going to trade. That was a very quick win. Our score is now 9-3. Remember the win condition is first to 11 with win by at least 2. 2 pieces for a queen, reasonable in this case. Much preferable to losing a piece and a pawn, which is what happened instead. Should have given up the queen for 2 pieces. Knight in. Oh, that wasn't the place for the knight. Should have tried to tempo the bishop and the queen. Like maybe he was trying to protect this as well, but this pawn is somewhat irrelevant. We're trying to defend this, it looks like. This is a threat, actually. Okay, you could just give this up. I don't like taking back. What I would have liked is knight check, bishop takes bishop to threaten pawn promotion later. Knight in, maybe? But this king is a little bit vulnerable now. Should not have taken the knight. That was definitely a mistake. Queen trade on offer here. Maybe he wants queen in to trade the queens, get another promotion. Bishop check is a good idea. attacks and defends. This one, I don't know about though. You can promote, then knight check, take the queen. Bishop mates. King is a little vulnerable. Okay, nice way to continue the attack. Rook takes. No, you want to get another. You want to get another piece in the game. Nunu is now downtime. The king is a little vulnerable. He's bringing back the queen to defend. This is a threat. Lost a piece. Seeing some chess here, pawn in. That gives the king more left too. But Nunu is able to live long enough for his partner to mate. Our score is now 10-3, favoring Nunu and frozenthrush. A lot of pieces have traded off the right board. Both kings look safe on the left board. I think we'll probably see somewhat of a sack on h6. He would rather have a pawn to put in there. Maybe he'll use a knight. Oh, gotta watch out for the sack. Okay, he's defended. And he's got the pawn. That was a very long sit for that pawn. Not worth that long of a sit. Go knight in. Yeah. One possible threat is rook in, win the knight, tempo the king. Oh, don't like that. CRERULES has given up material, allowed promotion. They're just going to chess on the other board. Nunu is going to have really easy chessmate. And that is match. I think the score is now 11-3. Final score 11-3. Favoring Nunu and frozenthrush. So this match started off fairly quickly. Started off fairly even. But then the Polish team ran away with it. Sorry I missed the first 2 games of the match here, but we got to cover the rest of it. That was a fun match to watch. Looking at the calendar, I missed a few matches earlier today. There's one at 11 a.m., another at noon. It's 3 p.m. for me right now, Eastern Standard Time. I don't see anything on the calendar until 1 a.m. So in about 10 hours. If new stuff gets put in the calendar and I see it with enough notice, I'll try to cover it. Tomorrow I see 3 matches on the calendar, 1 a.m., 1 p.m., and 3:30 p.m. We'll try to cover as many of them as possible. Friday, I only see 1 match at noon. I am trying to cover as many of these matches as possible. I'll also be streaming Bughouse at my usual time at 10 p.m. for me, which is in about 6.5 hours. Anyway, thank you for watching, everyone. We're going to find someone to raid. Looks like Raidon is streaming, so I think we're going to give Raidon a raid. But first, let's give a quick check to see who is streaming in the chess category and if we see any interesting chess variants. Radon is probably streaming 4-player chess. So sometimes he streams puzzles. Yeah, he's streaming 4-player chess. Okay, let's send a raid to Radon. Thank you everyone for watching. I really appreciate it. I guess no one really participated in the chat, but hopefully the VOD will be useful for those of you who like covering the Bughouse World Championship matches. If you haven't followed me yet, I appreciate a follow so you get notified of my future streams. I stream mostly Bughouse, but also some 4-player chess, Puzzle Rush Puzzle Battle, and some other variety games. Radon is an amazing player at 4-player FFA. He's hit 3,000 at that variant before. I'm currently 2650, and I'm very overrated. He is not overrated. He's at 2930 right now, and he's appropriately rated. So definitely check out his streams. You can learn a lot about 4-player chess by watching him play. Anyway, I hope you all have a great afternoon. I hope to see some of you for my stream at 10 p.m. tonight. Bye, everyone.